Hi everyone, my name is Nico Rinehart. On today's episode of What Can We Learn, we're looking at one of my favorite songs of the summer, Good Luck Babe by Chappell Roan. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably initially looked at the cover art and immediately knew it was something that you liked. But what about it gives it this unique vibe? Before we dive in, however, let's talk about Chappell Roan as an artist. Now, she's been making waves recently, as once a small independent artist turned international phenomenon, with a unique sound that blends pop with the retro sounds of the 80s. Now, Good Luck Babe is the latest single release from Chappell Roan following her debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. Now, let's talk about her songwriting techniques. In Good Luck Babe and the entirety of The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, Chappell's lyrics really shine. They're incredibly imaginative, and the biggest thing that I took away from this, very, very quotable. Her lyrics depict very unique situations to her, but relatable enough that most of us can see ourselves in that position, and can relate said lyrics to our own personal experiences. And while a lot of the subject matter of Chappell's music may be heartbreak or something negative that happened in a relationship, she's definitely coming at it with a very empowered and confident angle, which I think is something pretty unique to her. A lot of breakup songs or negative relationship songs are pretty mellow and sad. And that makes sense. I mean, that's the emotion that the artist might have been feeling at the time. But Chappell writes these songs with a lot of confidence and empowerment that's pretty refreshing. It really makes someone would want to scream in their car after a bad breakup or after a bad situation. You know, you have songs for crying and then you have songs for just letting it all out. And that's really the approach that Chappell is making with all these songs. And especially Good Luck Babe. And the song's structure and form, it's pretty cut and dry pop. And while the songs on her albums may differ a lot, I think the single was very much supposed to be a summer hit. So it makes a lot of sense why she chose this kind of song structure. It only takes 35 seconds to get to the chorus. And with a big hit like that, I think that's pretty important. There's a saying, don't bore us, get to the chorus. And for a standalone single, I think this is where it really shines. Especially because when she gets into the chorus, she shoots up the octave, and she sings the melody that we can all just scream in our car. I think throughout most of this song, you can describe her delivery as pretty like whiny, and I think a lot of her songs have that to kind of show, you know, the brattiness. And then finally, when we get to the lyrics, Good Luck Babe, and then the background vocals sing Good Luck Babe, there's a call and response there, which is a really, really good tool for catchy hooks. It's gonna make it that much more memorable, and also makes it really, really fun once she, you know, performs it live. Which I think is another interesting thing about her music. Her music is very, very tailored for playing live. And I think if you watch any video of her playing live, that's very evident. I also think it's interesting how long what I consider the chorus to be. Because I consider the chorus to be when she shoots up that octave and she sings, "You can kiss 100 boys in bars." I consider that the start of the chorus, and it goes on for a good while, and I consider the ending, "I'm cliche, who cares?" That's the ending. That's a good amount of the actual song that's chorus. Another thing that I'm noticing here is, you know, the relationship between the verses and the choruses are very pivotal. And a little bit ago, I was reading this book right here, Writing Better Lyrics, The Essential Guide to Powerful Songwriting. And it discusses the relationship between verses and the refrain being the chorus, as the verses each time should be adding weight to the choruses. You know, she opens it up with saying, you know, "It's fine, it's cool. You can say we were nothing, but I know the truth." So obviously something happened here, you know, maybe a relationship ended, and she's kind of being defiant, being bratty, being like, it's fine, you know, whatever, I know the truth, I know what we really were. And then she goes into the chorus, you know, "You can kiss 100 boys in bars, shoot another shot, try to stop the feeling. You can say it's just the way we are, make a new excuse, another stupid reason." She's going to repeat that another 3 times. So what she's trying to do with the verses here is each verse explain it from a different angle, or at least whenever that refrain comes up again, maybe it means something a little bit different, or it's just each verse needs to add more weight to what she's saying in the choruses. And that's very much what she's doing here. You know, initially she's saying, you know, "I don't care, you want to call it off, I know what it really was." Now she's saying, "I cry, it's not fair, I just need a little lovin', I just need a little air." And this verse is very, very short. You know, the main draw of this is the refrain, but even those little verses that we get, it still adds more weight to each refrain. You know, and now we have the bridge, which for most songs is like, you know, the big switch up. It's when the artist can kind of totally divert away from the original sound of the song. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to give your your audience ear fatigue. You don't just want to be hitting them with kind of just like the same vibe. It gets boring, you get ear fatigue, you don't really want to listen all the way through. And she really switches it up with her vocal delivery. Now she's singing not whiny, but still bratty, but very, very defiant. And very much like she's putting her foot down. And yet with the lyrics, we're still adding weight to the refrains, to the choruses, because now we're coming from a different perspective, And when you wake up next to him in the middle of the night, with your head in your hands, you're nothing more than his wife. And you'll think about me all those years ago. So, now instead of saying like, this is how I felt, man, this sucks, screw you. Now it's a lot more like, now I'm saying how you must feel right now. All these years later, now how is it affecting you? And the fact that it's affecting you like that is giving Chappell this confidence that she can make this song. And now we're back in the chorus, with all of this new information that we get from the bridge. And now, each time we hear this chorus, we're hearing a little bit differently because of the new perspective, because of the new information we get from each previous verse. And again, this is a really good thing to think about when you're writing your own music. This is something that a lot of good writers use, and maybe Chappell isn't thinking about it outright. It's the common sense thing to do for someone that's been writing music for a while, and that's been writing really good music, is, you don't want to just like tell the story, sing the chorus. Tell the story again, sing the chorus. Or tell a story, sing the chorus, tell another story. They do still need to be related, they just need to add weight to the refrain each time. And now let's move on to the production of the song. Because when I first heard this song, this is what I really paid attention to. It had me with the first couple seconds. With the steady, simple beat on pretty vintage sounding drums, and then the synth comes in, and you immediately know what this is gonna be. This is an 80s retro vibe, but it really doesn't feel gimmicky here. It's a difficult line to walk with, the very era-defining sounds. It can very, very easily sound cheap and gimmicky and like you're just trying to get it. But this, with everything, with the instrumental, with the way that she sings, her lyrics, her vocal chain, everything really fits and it feels incredibly authentic. And I really don't think that it's just trying to be 80s to be 80s, because it's not entirely 80s. It still is very modern pop, but taking influences from the 80s to support the song, to support the message, but it not be maybe the main vocal point, or it's not the reason. You can tell it's not the reason this song was made. This song was made because she had a story that she wanted to tell, and that comes across here. So throughout the first verse, the instrumentation that we have here is we have the drums, and we have an actual played electric bass, and we have synth and vocals. And that's it. It's very simple, and what I like about the drums, they're not overly compressed. Throughout all of Chappell's music, I feel like it would be really easy to overproduce the hell out of it. But to me, the mix is very simple, it's very effective, it's pretty dynamic for a pop song, and it sounds just warm and authentic. Overproducing is a big thing that I struggle with. You don't know when it's finished, maybe it doesn't feel exactly where you want it to, so you just keep adding stuff. And I think that's one of the benefits of being a songwriter that also, has a producer, because when you're a songwriter and the producer, you can get carried away with just adding stuff because you have the time, you're sitting in front of the computer, you could add it, so you're like, oh, then I might as well. But here it's very restrained. The instruments are there just because they need to be, supporting the song, because you start adding more, it's gonna start to take away from the effect. Even in the choruses, we're still only having those main instruments there. Maybe there's a couple more layers of synth, but that's kind of it. The rise in energy and, the big, oh, here we go, we're in the chorus, has a lot more to do with the writing than the actual production. And that's how songs should be, in my opinion. That's when songs really shine. If you could have a really, really effective dynamic change from verse to chorus, even just being acoustic singing and playing the acoustic guitar, that's when you have a really, really well-written song, not just well-produced song. And then in the second verse, we have some strings come in, which was a very popular thing with 80s like disco. And it's really not used in that context here, but the strings here is definitely an homage to that. And the part right before the chorus for the second time comes in is a good example of making the transition from pre-chorus or verse to the chorus different each time it happens. This is a big thing that can turn your songs from sounding pretty boring to being a lot more dynamic. Initially, when the pre-chorus goes into the chorus here, it just goes straight through. Now the second time, you have instruments dropping out while she sings, which makes the contrast between right before the chorus and the chorus hitting bigger. Because you had, the drums going through, the synth going through, right through into the chorus the first time. Now you have those things dropping out, so then you notice more when they come back in. And again, it is elevating that energy, and it's changing how we feel going into the chorus each time. And production-wise for the verse, really the only thing that changes here is you have some pretty big sounding toms come in, and that kind of helps support the more dramatic feeling that she's going with this bridge. And then when she goes with the lines, I hate to say it, I told you so. I hate to say it, but I told you so. The production gets very small there, and she even gets close to the mic and she whispers. This is again to make the dynamic difference between right before the chorus and the chorus bigger, so you can change the dynamic contrast between right before the chorus into the chorus without actually adding things to the chorus. Sometimes it can be way more beneficial to take away instead of keep adding. Sometimes less is more. And when she goes into the final chorus, this is something I talked about in my previous video with Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. She goes into the chorus kind of belting out a note, and then when we go into the chorus, you have the background vocals singing the main chorus melody while she belts out that note or kind of riffs over it. And that's a very cliche, super fun, super pop, summer pop kind of thing that really helps bringing up that energy for the final chorus. The final chorus, usually you want to be the highest energy. And then at the end here, where she repeats the phrase, "You'd have to stop the world just to stop the feeling." And then the song tempo slows down, but then also the pitch of everything gets lower. And that's exactly what would happen if you slowed down a record playing on a record player. And this is a fun example of lyric painting, where you have what the person is saying actually happen in the music. So you'd have to stop the world just to stop the feeling. Stop the world from spinning, it starts slowing down, just like the actual effect in the music here of a vinyl record slowing down on a player, slowing the tempo and slowly lowering the pitch of the entire record as a whole. So, in all, why does this song work so well? What sets it apart from everything else that didn't blow up this big? Well, I think one of the things is just the cultural impact of Chappell Roan herself. She's become a huge icon for, a bunch of different communities, and her live shows and her whole aesthetic, how she dresses, the actual cover art of the single and the album cover for The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess is very drag inspired. And I think that's a big thing to her appeal. I think it's very unique. I think it's really cool. She clearly has a vision here. And she's very dramatic and theatrical, and it's super, super fun. And it's not just some sad pop song. It's a defiant, bratty, confident pop song for everyone partaking in Brat Summer. And it's just super, super fun. And I think a lot of people have kind of been wanting a little bit of a breath of fresh air because, I think a lot of things with pop music changed in 2020, and with 2020 came the rise of the kind of indie pop, bedroom pop, independent producer, independent songwriter, which at the time was very fun and was a breath of fresh air. But I think we can see with the rise of Brat by Charlie and Chappell Roan's The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, people are really gravitating towards this empowered, defiant, and confident pop that wasn't really that prominent in 2020. 2020, a lot of people were feeling sad, but now I think we're trying to come back up from that. And you know, Chappell's been making music for a while, but she's really on a rise right now because I feel like a lot of people want that. You know, the whole Brat Summer thing. I think people want to get their confidence back. People like that camp, that fun, that not take it too seriously, but take it super seriously at the same time music. And again, it's not just the music, it's the whole world around it and the whole vibe and the whole aesthetic that is really, really appealing to a lot of people. Don't think of your music projects of like, this is my single that I'm releasing. Think about how it fits in to a bigger world, to a bigger narrative. That's what I really like about this song, and I think that's what everyone likes about this song too. Alright, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, and subscribe for more content like this.
Oh, it stopped recording.